All right, which one? Which one is it going to be? This one. Yep, I've made a decision. This is the truck that's going to get the 28-foot rollback. Well, I don't know why I say the truck. This is the cab that's going to get built with the rollback into a rollback truck. There was a lot of comments in the previous video about the rollback and what my intentions were and how to build it, and a lot of guys thought it'd be better to use that truck because it was already running and driving, or the Peterbilt because it already runs and drives and it's already a long frame. And there was a lot of valid points. However, this thing here, it just suits, because everything that's wrong with this truck, like I said in the previous video, everything that's wrong with this truck are things I would need to change on this truck, that truck, the Peterbilt, or the International, because they're all just too high, and I need to get it as low as possible regardless what chassis it is. So I have been mentally making a list of parts that I need, and it's a long one, because basically all we're doing is taking this cab, the hinges for the cab, the air ride for the cab, and some of the controls that are specific to this to make it work with a different drive line. And we're going to put it on a different frame with a different front axle and a different suspension and different motor, different transmission. It's going to be an ordeal. So first on the list is I'm looking for a car hauler drop axle for the front. I want to continue to run 22.5 tires, but I'm going to run low pros, and really would like, this is what I'm thinking. I'm either going to move this axle forward 6 inches and cut this out and do away with this, or we're going to do it the same but get one of those wraparound bumpers that kind of closes that gap up a little bit, because I actually like the wraparound bumper idea a little better. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how that goes. Next thing on my list is fuel tanks. I'm looking for some 18-inch diameter fuel tanks. The gallons I'm not that particular on, but I need 18-inch diameter at 22 at the most. I have one small one, and it's about this length, I think, but I don't remember what size it is. But I'm gonna need 2 of them. I want one on each side. As far as rear suspension, I want Peterbilt low leaf or low leaf or something similar, because I need to get this down. Rear end ratio, because of the tire size I'm going to run, we could be in the 2 point something or maybe 308, something like that. Motor and transmission, you know, we're going to try and get as many gears as we can and get as much horsepower as we can with what I've got. I've got an N14 and a 9-speed. That N14 I have is a mechanical. I'll show you that here in a minute. But it's 325 horse factory set, and it's got a 9-speed behind it, and I believe this one's a 9-speed as well. So what we're going to be using off this truck is going to be a cab for sure, and then we'll have to have the air ride cab mount and lock system for sure. We'll probably have to use most of this or make something like this for the oil. Check the oil and the oil fill. You can see the oil fill is missing. That would have went right in here. And we're going to use, I don't know if we can use a radiator, because I think that's going to be a low flow radiator, because what year is this? I think it's an 89 or 90, one or the other. So it's a big can of low flow. We probably can't use that. We need the cab mount, the front hinge assembly. We'll need this front spring hanger here. We'll need the cylinders and the steering gearbox. We'll have to have that, and we'll have to use the, let's see if we can get over here. Yeah, use the steering gearbox and then the 2 shifter cables, because it's a later one, so it's got shift cables to go to the transmission. We'll have to get the throttle linkage, and there's some miscellaneous stuff. A lot of the stuff we're just going to replace, like air dryer. The radiator will probably be something from an earlier model with not a low flow. something we can find there. But there's not a whole lot we're going to use off this truck. We won't be using the rear leaf spring. Well, we might use the rear leaf spring mount. It might just need to get moved forward 6 inches. So we'll have to see. But overall, you know, the cab itself, it's not damaged. You know, there's no dents in it. The door might squeak just a skosh. Last time I was on the road was in 2005. So what is that, 17 years off the road? Just a little bit of fiberglass work here. Yeah, just a little bit of fiberglass right there. Not really a big deal, but it'll need a couple windshields. They're both cracked, but it's a nice big double bunk. It's pretty good sized. And the interior, it's missing a few pieces, but it's not bad. I mean, we're not missing hard things to find. Like this button tuck, my wife just wiped it down real quick and put a little bit of dressing on it, just see if it would come alive. And I mean, man, that's not bad. No, it's filthy. I mean, it's been sitting since March of 2005 was the last date we could find that someone was in it. Of course, the seat's all buggered up and the steering wheel's baked off years and years, but you know, all the gauges are here. The indicators are still here. Turn signals, high beam, diff lock, low air, fifth wheel, air suspension, right turn. It says it's got 382 on it, so that's likely 1 million or 2 million. The only gauge it looks like it's not original is the fuel. So we're missing the switch pack here, the switch panel. But if you look at it, I mean, it's not that difficult. I could make that. I don't have a problem with that, and I could very easily strip these panels and wrap them again in wood grain. Heater controls are here. My wife just wiped this down real quick and just see what it's going to look like. I mean, it's dirty, it's filthy, but you know, if you pay attention, man, the button tuck, it's in pretty good shape. It's had a little bit of rodent you know, intrusion, but not horrible. And that is a big sleeper back there. It's all dusty from the dirt and all that stuff. But look, the upper compartments, we'll get it all cleaned up. Ooh, we might have a water leak over there. You see, right? Let's see if I can point right there and there in the buttons. We may have a roof leak we'll have to take a look at. Button tuck's falling down. There may be mice up in that top part. We'll have to get that figured out. But overall, I mean, it's missing some things. The foot valve's gone, and that panel. But otherwise, it's a good base to start with. I've seen guys start with less and actually put the same truck on the road just like it is. But I did notice this was kind of nice. And just door, the hinge is kind of boogered up, but then I moved this mirror and look, I don't know why it didn't hold, huh? But all in all, it ain't bad. A couple new air ride seats. We'll get the interior completely torn out and we'll dynamat everything because this will be just too loud the way it is. But like I said, basically we're starting with a cab. Oh, and I got a quote back from PG Adams, and we may have to do something different. I spec'd out the frame, actually pretty heavy frame, because you know it's going to be total. The truck's going to be 40 feet long. The frame's going to be somewhere around 30. What did I figure? 35, 37. Yeah, it's not going to be a setup like a rollback like normal where you have a lot of overhang on the rear. I don't want that at all because I want that under reach. So I'm going to manipulate a lot so that we can get the wheels all the way as far back as we can. So it's going to make my wheelbase longer. Plus we're going to have a lift axle, a steerable lift axle up in the front. So I got the quote back from them, and you know, the frame was one price, but the cross members, I had them quote 6 the Peterbilt style cross members, and that was $3,000 for 6 of them. The shipping was $1,000. I think it was right at 1,000, and the sales tax was $1,000. So all together was 14 grand. So we may have to look into other options. I can't spend 14 grand on just the frame rails when there's so much more to go, because I'm gonna be looking for a parts truck. I had found a car hauler that had a bad engine, and the guy was selling it, and he didn't want to part it out. He wanted to sell the whole thing, which is great for me because it was a 10-car hauler and the frame was really long and very clean because it was out of Texas. But it was only $8,000 for the whole entire truck, and I didn't get in touch with him fast enough, and it was gone. So that doesn't help me. But I'm gonna look into a parts truck from down south. If I can find a parts truck with, at the very least, maybe the right rear suspension, and I can, you know, get it reasonable, that'll really help the budget out, because I don't want to spend all the money on the frame itself and then be so deep in the truck that I want to get rid of it, because I want to be in this right. But anyways, I'm going to show you the engine that we're going to pick to put, I think is what we're going to put in it, because it's a mechanical N14. It's only 325 horse, but I've been hanging on to this because the thing starts so good. It can sit for months and months and months, and you go crank it over and it fires right off. So I think it'll be a good fit for this, because I want it simple. I don't want, the only thing that stinks is I really would like to have cruise control. This has a throttle cable right next to the driver's seat down here that you pull up to hold, and I really didn't care for that, but I'd like to have that. And the N14 that I'm thinking about using has a Jake brake too, so that would be very beneficial. So I'll show you that motor here. So in the first video, I had a lot of people telling me that, you know, they really like this Kenworth 8-bag suspension. I don't know what it's called, 8G100 or something like that. And they asked me what I didn't like about it. Is, man, there's just so many moving parts on this thing. I mean, you got this huge mount, you got a bar from here going forward with a bushing in here, a bushing in here, a bushing back here, a bag, a bushing, a bushing, a bushing, a bushing, and then you have all that again on the rear. I mean, that's all. And then again, of course, you have 4 airbags. That is a lot of moving parts on a suspension, and I just think there's other ones out there that I'd prefer to use that won't require this much to look at. You know, that's a whole lot of stuff to maintain. But I don't know if this suspension is worth anything to anybody. You know, the rear end housings have been pretty much stripped. At least the front one, there's nothing in it. Power divider's been taken out. The carrier, the front one's still here, but yeah, I don't know if it's any value to anybody. Maybe a few $100, but we're going to strip it down to a rolling chassis. I'm certainly not going to let the air tanks go. I fight with air tanks constantly, and those ones look like they've been replaced recently. Both of them do. So we'll definitely get them cleaned up and painted, and that way we can use them and they won't go to waste. This is a truck we just took that tank off of, and it's got an N14 mechanical in it, and I'm telling you, this thing just runs so good. I mean, it never fails. Doesn't matter what temperature it is, doesn't matter how long it's sat. And it's just simple. Something I really like. The block heater's been disabled. We got some oil leaks, but you know, not too bad. Little bitty turbo. New alternator. The belts need adjusted. It's got a new radiator in it, which I don't know if we could use that or not, but looks like we might have a little coolant leak right there. The thing I like about it is it's mechanical, and you know, it's simple. Simple is reliable. So I had got on a tag here, and I can't see it now, but I think it's 325 horse. But here's a switch for the Jakes here, and they work. It actually works. The switch is a little finicky, but it does work. It's a shame the truck is just wasted. You know, there's just nothing left of it, but there's plenty left of this engine, so let's fire it up. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, it's got one of them farm heaters on there, block heaters. Okay, I see. Good old L9000. This is a wide dash too, you know. It's got the extra part over here. A lot of guys that usually have been looking for these. All right. Switch. That middle position doesn't seem to work. Really a shame. This truck's just rotted away. This is a good side, actually. Without fail, doesn't matter how long it sits, doesn't matter what temperature it is, it always fires up. I didn't realize this. It's got a nice headliner in it. I had sold, or thought I had sold, the door panels and these seats. These seats are in really nice shape. Well, at least this one is. The one I'm sitting in is still in good shape. It's just dirty. But look at these door panels. Pretty good shape. Oh, that one's chewed off. I forgot about that. Repairable. This used to be a road tractor. But man, what a good running truck. Once she's warmed up, she'll be right around 30 at operating temperature, which not too bad. I can take that. But yeah, that switch on that Jake, it just needs adjusted a little bit, or a switch replaced. So you got to push back on it just a little bit, but it doesn't work on stage 2 or stage 1. Anyways, that'd be so easy to add in that truck. See how quick she fires up. Same all the time, man. I've often wondered if this is one of them 9 speeds that you can put the auxiliary box on the back of it and make it a 13. I didn't look into it. I thought about it, and that's as far as I got. But it's just a shame. I mean, the truck's rough, but motor and transmission sure are good. The bad thing is the frame. This is why we took it apart. I mean, this is probably the worst rust jack I've ever seen. Just look at the size comparison to my finger. It's the thickest right there, and it's probably about, and here it's probably 2 inches thick. So there's nothing left of this frame. Good differentials though. Might be able to use them for something else. Look, spring pack's been replaced recently. It's a Hendrickson slipper spring. Yeah, look at that. That's how thick the rust is. Welcome to Northeast Ohio. Anyways, sure is a small RIN. It's probably 18 thousandths, huh? Probably not substantial enough for anything worthwhile. Look how little them U-joints are. What size would those be? 1510s? I don't know. Anyways, so, oh man, there's another air tank. That's an interesting strap system there. Couldn't find the right tank, so improvise, I guess. Okay. Better look at that frame. It's got this air line pinched between the two. Look at that. Laid in there, and the rust jacking got to it. It's pretty bad. So there you have it. That's the decision. That's what we're going to go with. So now starts the monumental task of finding, locating, and purchasing all the things that I don't have. And I'm going to look into possibly a T600 truck with a big sleeper as a road tractor, because it's a very good possibility I might be able to get the length out of that truck, and I happen to have one at home, so we're going to measure that. But anyways, that's what we're doing. Stick around, guys. This will probably be in the fall before I can get to it, but I'm going to start gathering parts. We'll bring it along as we find the parts. Thanks for watching.